Well, the inflation numbers are out, guys, and wouldn't you know, there's no inflation. There's literally no inflation. And this is the clown world that we live in, when you can sit here and tell people like, well, inflation is doing great, guys. This is amazing. It's down to 4% or 5.3 with the core rate. You do realize that we had, what, 7, 8, 9% inflation last year at this time. So it only increased 4% from there. Again, what they don't teach you in school, simple math. When you're memorizing things and you're constantly have your head down, up your you-know-what, and in your phone, then you can't see what's going on around you. See, the problem with all this is that you have Putin price hikes, like, oh, it's logistical problems, and it's supply chain issues. Those are symptoms of inflation. Those aren't inflation. Those are just rising prices. Those are downstream effects, second, third, fourth order effects. Inflation is nothing other than monetary expansion. It's increasing the currency supply. That is it. That is it. And eventually it works its way through society, whether it's a month from now or a year from now or 5, 10 years from now. It works its way into the system, and prices are like a sponge that soak up the currency. So yes, I get it, George Gammon. I get it. Some of you out there, well, that's on the balance sheet of banks. It's not really in the system. Okay, when you have banks that just got bailed out, and make no mistake, they're getting bailed out. Depositors getting bailed out. The fees that can get passed down to people. These effects happen at some point. The inflation through monetary expansion, which is all it is, monetary expansion, trickled in through society. Also said like this: when you have banks and people that are too big to fail, they can do whatever they dang well please. So when they are doing stock buybacks, or they are doing ridiculous things with their balance sheet and grifting and grafting and rent seeking, and BlackRock is buying up all the homes on the streets because they're getting funneled cheap currency from the Fed or whatever it is, and they're making ridiculous bets on things. They're buying up all kinds of companies. They're buying up mom and pop companies like BlackRock or like Apple or like Microsoft or like whoever, you name it, big corporation who gets to borrow currency at nothing, no cost, because they know if they fail, they'll get bailed out. They get to buy up all the mom and pops. They get to buy up everybody around them and have pseudo monopolies or monopolies. They can raise prices. They can do whatever they want. So somehow, some way, they're making these logistics issues. So now they're like, oh, it's logistics. Well, then how come they weren't more robust in the first place? It's because they're so worried about quarterly earnings and squeezing every last little dollar out of something that they're outsourcing labor to China or to cheap, areas of the world where they can get cheaper, less expenses and cheaper labor, and they can increase those profit margins so they can show you a good quarterly earnings, because everyone's tied to the stock market now. They've financialized everything, and they've created weapons of mass destruction, the financial derivatives, and everything is literally hanging on this upside down pyramid. It's a top, and it's just spinning, and it's slowing down. It's starting to wobble. So this is the problem. When you have bailouts and too big to fail and currency printing, you literally are taking merit and accountability and responsibility out of the system, and you're saying, that doesn't matter anymore. And they're privatizing the gains, so the people at the top that own these companies or own the shares or have the actual ownership get to profit, which is very few people in the overall society. And then you socialize losses. So when everyone has to get bailed out, like we saw in COVID, like I believe the Carnival or the cruise lines and airline companies, and then you had the car companies, and these things continue to happen, PPP, all these things, and then people are getting bailed out. They're getting stimmy checks. Well, what makes me think like, oh, you know what? I'm going to be responsible with my investing. I'm going to be responsible with what I do. I'm going to be responsible with what I buy. Of course, nothing is going to happen. No one's going to do anything because they're like, you know what? You'll bail me out. And darn nabbit, they probably will get bailed out. So everything is going to increase in cost because bailouts will continue to happen. This goes back to why I've predicted now for a number of years that foreclosures will not happen like we saw last time. They will happen. However, the government will come in and say, hey, we'll give you $200,000 for your house that's only worth $150, and this other $50,000, you can just download our government spy app, our slavery app, and you get the extra 50 on your app. All you got to do is just give us your data and your privacy. That's all you got to do. The government controls it. And then you get bought out by the government. Your house owns it. You rent it from the government landlord. And then you get your extra cash on your phone, your stimmy check, your universal basic income. That's the way it's going to go, because people, what are they going to do? Kick people out of homes? And you have people on social media who are like, look, they're kicking out the Jones family, those darn banks, those darn politicians. Even though they might be right, psychology is the biggest player in money in politics, in really human life. Psychology is everything. Money is a psychological engine. Nolan Bowerly talks about this all the time. So this will continue to fester because we've broken the system, because we've broken money. We've left God, number one, which, again, the other day, I know not everyone believes in God, but when you have something, when you're saying I am the end all be all, and something bigger than me is not, I am the center of the universe, nothing is above me, then I can change my mind on a whim, and that's going to be right always. So when people are telling me, oh, you might be a good person, someone who's an atheist or can be a good person, of course. They can be a bad person and they can be a good person. A Catholic can be a good person and they can be a bad person. But when you have no ethos that you're going on, and it's constantly changing or changing just once in a while, or it might never change, but it's different for you as it is for someone else, who it is for someone else. Now you have this setup where we're just continually going around and around, where there's no guiding light. There's no foundational piece that we're all going towards. And understanding the humility aspect, that there is something bigger than me. There is something larger at play. And again, people who aren't believers as well. There's not a video about believers and non-believers. People can believe that are not non-believers that there is something bigger than them at play. However, my point is it's not uniform. It's not uniform, and not everyone believes that. So you could have 10% of non-believers think that way, but not everyone does. And that's my point with all of it. And it's not to say believers are perfect, and because they're not. They know they're sinners. They know they're wrong, and that's why I continually pray. That's why I go to church, because I know I'm wrong. I know that I need help and that I'm not perfect, and I have something that's bigger than me, and I have to play like that and make decisions that there's something bigger than I out there, and I have to do that. Otherwise, I'd be the biggest a-hole out there. If I didn't have a guiding light, I'd be the Dan Bilzerians of the world. They're just doing whatever I want to. Can you imagine tens of thousands of those people, hundreds of thousands of those men just running around doing whatever they damn well pleased? That'd be a lot of men if they didn't have a guiding light, something saying, hey, whoa, let's control our animal instincts. So this, we've gone down the rabbit hole a little bit here. I know I'm gonna take some people off here with what I'm saying, and some of you it's really gonna resonate. I can speak my truth, tell stories about my life and the mistakes I've made, and which are many. And the inflation report is one of those things where you're constantly being lied to. It's constant psychological operations, and they're making things. Oh, this is great. Look, month over month, it's 0.1%, and look at year over year, it's 4%. It's down. It's it's slowing the rate of inflation. Inflation's still going up, and this is all, like I said, because of broken money. We try to give something to learn at the end of these videos and understand there are options. A lot of people don't even know the problems. Some people do know the problems, but very few people know the solutions. We actually have a solution now. We never had this. Only in the last 20 years has the technology been available for us to have a solution. Now we do. And again, in everything I've ever seen, studying this for 20 years, politics and money and monetary history, business, investing, Bitcoin, there's nothing like Bitcoin. Having this digital immutable scarcity we've never had in human history that now we have to this time. And there's nothing else like it. There's no altcoin. There's no other investment. There's no real estate. I own real estate. I own all these other things. Nothing comes close to Bitcoin because it is true money. It is the true trade for your finite time and energy. Finite asset for your finite time and energy. It's the only thing you can trade and put in a container that fits your time, your finite time and energy. So don't be hoodwinked by the masters of manipulation in these government entities and these academia entities and these media entities. They are there to twist narratives. Bernays talked about read the book Propaganda. That's all this is, right? If you want to know, if you think the news is crooked, just wait till you read history. So we have to understand what's going on. We have to understand the psychological and philosophical goings on of what's happening, and to understand how to see opposing opinions and see them at the same time and be able to hold them in your head at the same time. Because things like this and the market jumping and the market's great because inflation's down. People think the Fed's not going to change anything now. This is clown world, and you have to zoom out. People think that they are day traders. Everyone thinks they're day traders and swing traders and all these things. No, no one is. None of you are. I'm not. None of you are. Just go to work, provide value, save in Bitcoin more than you spend each month, and you'll become a sovereign person over time. And you don't have to worry about any of these things. This is not financial advice. It's freedom advice. Purely freedom advice. Listen to what I'm saying. Freedom advice, not financial advice. Appreciate you coming to my TED Talk. more than you know. Question everything with boldness, even the existence of God himself. Please share it out because the algorithm hates truth. The algorithm hates us talking about these things. Cannot stand it. The algorithm, YouTube just banned Swan Bitcoin. Swan Bitcoin does nothing other than just provide Bitcoin content and talk about Bitcoin and freedom. And the algorithm hates that. And this is why we do what we do. We need to drown out the system. We need to overwhelm evil, period. I appreciate you more than you know. Please share it because the only way good and light can stand up to the darkness. I'll see you in the next one.